Hey everybody, it's A7X Fan Ben. Today I'm going to be opening a pack of Pirates of the Frozen North. So this was actually the 8th expansion for Pirates, the 8th set in the series. This introduced the Viking faction. As you can kind of tell, there's a longship on the pack. This set is kind of cool. The pack is cool because it has a bit of an extra like shininess to it. It's not just the regular gloss that's on the other packs. It's a little bit unique. It's also kind of different because there's not many dark colors on the pack at all. And then it introduces the Vikings. So part of the reason I want to open one of these packs is because it's one of the rarer sets, so people might not have as much of this set. And in addition to that, I don't have the super rares from this set yet, so there's like a tiny chance I might get them, but let's just see what happens. Nope, no super rares. You can already tell, but that's fine. Okay, USS Vermont. This is the first ship. So the ship is okay. It has good cargo and a decent ability and decent guns. It's a little bit expensive for what you get. It'd be nice if it had a little bit more speed, but it's not a bad American ship. One thing to remember about the Frozen North set is that it's not one of the better sets. It's pretty slow. The ships are pretty slow, and there's a decent amount of somewhat mediocre ships. There's some gems in there too, but it's not one of the best sets for quality. It's okay, but not great. This ship does have some pretty interesting sails and an interesting hull design as well. You can see some pretty interesting colorful designs, which is cool. USS Vermont. Captain Doggett has sailed from the Barbary Coast to the Frozen North, recruiting any who would fight for democracy and justice. So that's another example of the flavor text influencing the ability, so that's part of the reason the ability is what it is. So the set was also unique because the islands weren't green as usual, so they actually made a very thematic change to more of a wintry island, so maybe with snow on it. And then on the back, of course, the icebergs, which is one of the biggest things about this set that was unique. So the icebergs basically, so you would roll for icebergs at the beginning of each turn. You can vary it. You could do it at the beginning of each round, or at the beginning of every single player's turn, or every other round of turns, whatever. And then if you roll a 4, this iceberg will move, but to move it you have to roll again, and then whichever one you roll out of the 6, that's the direction it moves in. So if you roll a 6, it moves S that way. So that's how icebergs work. And then if they hit a ship, they eliminate a mast. So it can be fun to string them together just like other terrain. So you could have like 2 or 3 or more icebergs in one like cluster to make like a super iceberg, and then that could all move as one. Or you could split it up. Once it hits a ship, maybe it breaks in half, stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. As usual, house rules can make the game even better than it already is. This is the little insert calling all Nordic Raiders. So you could, if you had these different little pieces, you could get the Nordic Raiders pack, which I was lucky to receive as a gift from somebody a while back, which was really nice. And I think I got it mostly because of the battle reports I write, so that was pretty cool. And then here's an ad for the Sony Online Entertainment game, which isn't going on anymore, but. And then here, Viking Stinkpot Specialist. That's pretty cool, actually. I think this is one of the things I've been wanting. So I think I already have 1 or 2, but I could always use more, because stinkpots are actually one of the better crew in the game, because you can cancel all the crew on the opposing ship on the following turn if the cannon shot hits. You do have to use it within S. You can't use it with long-range guns, essentially, or you can, but the range will be reduced to S. But yeah, Stinkpot Specialists are, in my opinion, one of the most underrated crew. You can see it's Viking, and then we have the rest of the treasure there. And then here's the checklist and rules. And then the last ship is another American ship, USS Jackson. So this ship has the escort ability and decent stats all around. Not a super interesting ship, but not a bad ship really either. So it's not a bad pack. A couple of kind of average American ships, and then a nice crew. And that concludes this video, so stay tuned for next time.